afternoon, and welcome to The Hot Wall. Welcome to Phil's Corner Live, and welcome to our regular Thursday show where we talk about the latest releases. We rank them in a giant tier list, and as Thomas has pointed out quite rightly, I added giant to the title. I need to experiment, I think, with some titles. I think as the months go on, I'll be trying to see how we can hook in a few more people. But it's good to be here, guys. Had a frustrating day yesterday, and I recorded a video and did all the filming, all the audio, only to then go to edit it and realise all the audio was corrupted. That was frustrating. But today's been a better day. And I've been looking forward to this. I'm going to try something a bit different for the start of this episode. I'm going to go through as quick fire as I can because we are still catching up, and I really do want to be catching up now. Now it's new release season. I want to be getting to the good stuff. So I think for the first half hour, maybe longer, I'm almost with very little explanation going to be ranking shirts. Now, as I do that, it's a bit different. Usually I like to talk through stuff, but if I'm doing that, please do jump in if you think, oh, why are you putting that there, Phil? Or you want to really, vouch for a shirt or whatever. Please still do that. As I say, I'm going to try it because, we'll have a look. In fact, as we're discussing now, let's see. So, looking at football shirts culture. Now, we obviously jumped forward to the City shirt, if you remember, from last week. Now, what did we do? I want to say we finished on, was it Club Leon or Santa Cruz? And then the Mönchengladbach kit. I don't think we've done the Mönchengladbach one. I'll double check the Hot Wall. But yeah, anyway, so we're going to try it as a quick fire because I really want to get, this week was such a good week. We had the international Nike kits. I really want to talk about those. Obviously, there's been loads of big releases. So it's going to be I want to get caught up to present day this week. So quick fire round for the first half an hour. Very little explanation as I put stuff in the list. We'll give that a go. Because I do want to talk a lot about the international kits because I'm pretty hyped about them. Ballum says, Phil didn't ask or tell me to buy this. Remember to vote for Phil's design in Investor Paris. Ballum, thank you, my friend. And indeed, I cannot say how much your support has been, how big your support has been, guys. All of you who have, whether you voted or even just commented on the designs, but it's been so humbling. I am going to lose it. If I win, I don't want to get carried away. The competition is very strong. The full designs are really good. But it would be a dream come true. I can't even begin to tell you how much it would mean. Well, you guys know how much it would mean. You know me. But yeah, whatever happens, it's up to the public now. So, but yeah, thank you, Ballum. I really appreciate that, mate. I'm going to say I'm going to go quick fire because there's so many kits, and I do want to spend time talking about the new Nike kits. And we've got some more comments, and I'm just again reading them through. John Carl, good to see. Ragav says England's away shirt is beautiful. It is. I really like England's away shirt. Didn't get a lot of talk, but I like that colour. Kind of reminds you of the accent colour on Liverpool's home shirt. And Julian Gonzalez is the Marca de Gaulle admin. Good to see you, Julian. Welcome. Great to have a new face and a great account. You guys are probably already following Marca de Gaulle on Twitter. Great account. But welcome. Welcome to some new faces. Good to see a lot of people in chat. These Thursday streams can often be quite chill, quite quiet, but we've already got a number of people in. And thank you. As I go through, I don't need to tell you guys, but please do keep the chat coming. If I don't respond, someone else in chat will, and I'll try my best. And as we've got some people filtering in as well, I'll do the usual bit of housekeeping. Please subscribe if you're new. Being a subscriber, it keeps you up to date with what's happening on the channel, and there's loads of stuff that's going to be coming up, this year. Now we're back in the studio. So do subscribe, and there's a Patreon as well. And actually, as we're talking, guys, I'll show you the screen. This just shows you my current list of patrons, I should say. There's a really good bunch there. People talking daily in a Slack group, and there's some real benefits to that. Before we get to the hot wall, a few more comments. It's been busy already. Thomas says, have we done the Jeff United kit? It feels like it just isn't on the site. Did we do the Jeff United kit? Now, I'm going to open up the hot wall as we speak. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if we did. For what it's worth, the parameters of the hot wall, we're ranking everything that was released this calendar year. So maybe it was released last year. I'm not sure. I'll double check and we'll have a look at the wall shortly, Thomas. Ballum sent us for the England Lionesses kit. It's good, but hell of expensive. It's very expensive. We will briefly talk about that. I don't want to talk too much about kit prices because most people, well, other people could talk more about that. But yeah, in short, very expensive. I mean, Thomas mentioned there that the fact that women's kit, the dry fit ADV was £115 is a lot. And for me, it was the fact that kids kits, one, they were selling player issue kids kits, which I think is a bit superfluous. But anyway, but to charge nearly £100 for those, yeah. John Carl, thank you for your vote, my friend. Cami saying England's women's away is horrible, very much Netherlands vibes and not the traditional red. It's very nice, but only in the ADV. Yeah, Cami, I personally quite like it, but of course it isn't traditional. That is very, very fair, and it did get a lot of people quite riled up. A lot of people weren't happy as well about the iridescent crest and swoosh, so we can talk about that if we get to it. Yeah. So, guys, let's get to the hot wall. That's why we're here. I'll just switch our scene. And you can see here, this is our giant tier list, as we've called it. And basically, guys, everything that's been released this calendar year is on here, not including keeper kits or kits that weren't worn on the pitch. There's a lot on here. You can see, generally speaking, the stuff on the left we're not as high on. That's the cooler side of the hot wall. But then as we go up the list, up to our elusive volcano tier, these are my favourite shirts of the year. There's a few as well in the second tier, the flames tier, which I really like as well. So in short, this is our list. I think we should get straight to it. Let us go to, as I say, well, from memory, we left it off here last time. I'm just going to check. Santa Cruz, Club Leon. I remember doing those, but again, I forget every week, and I never have a good system where I remember exactly where we were. Yeah, there's the Club Leon there. And I'm pretty sure we did Santa Cruz. I'm going to assume we did. If we didn't, I can always look back on last week's video and go and check. Ruben says France's women's cone kit is superb. It is superb. I absolutely love the one. Honestly, I really like the away, despite its simplicity. There's an amazing detail, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But the home it's probably going to be up here, let's be honest. It's very, very good. So, let's kick off with Mönchengladbach, because again, I don't think we did them, and I'm just going to check. I'm pretty sure we didn't. Again, apologies. If anyone can remember where we left off, right, remind me next time, guys. Before I go live for a stream, I need to check the end of last week's video, because that'll be a very simple way. As is, let's go to Mönchengladbach. I'm just double checking this list. It's getting okay. No, we did do Mönchengladbach. This is genuinely like an eye test looking at this now. But we did do that. I don't think we did Strasbourg. I'm almost certain we didn't. Yeah, let's go from Strasbourg. Oh dear, this professional stream we've got here. Alex, good to see you, mate. It says the women have now had my favourite home and away England shirts. Yeah, the 2019 away was amazing. I think that was. I'm with you there. And the home, I really like the current home as well. I'm going to tell you now, guys, there are going to be more than one shirt, the Nike women's shirts in this volcano tier. That is to come. And there's look how few shirts have been in there. I do not put shirts in there lightly. I'm a hard man to please. Need to use a post-it note. Yeah, you know what, John Carl? Right, this is the system, guys. At the end of the stream, I'm going to maybe even just create a layer or note. You can make notes, can't you? But I can't remember how to do that. I'm going to create a layer and just write out the shirt. Well, in fact, hang on. We can look here, can't we? The highest... again, it's kind of showing you the sausage factory here. That's the City shirt. Yeah, we did the City shirt. And the München... So there you go. There we go. That's a simple way of doing it. I just look at my layers. I'm on layer 743. Now, there haven't been 743 shirts because I tend to paste in the shirt and then... But anyway, you can see the last shirt, there's City there, flashing on the screen, and Mönchengladbach. There we go. That's our system. See, this is how we do it. This is this is the best way to make content. You're figuring stuff out on the fly. There we go. We don't even need to do anything differently. We just need to look at our layers. Now, let's get to Strasbourg. Honestly, I cannot think of a notable shirt from these guys for a while, and it's probably because they're with Adidas. I mean, the funny thing is, if I was to start... Well, no, sorry, we're doing quickfire, aren't we? What am I talking about? What am I talking about? We're doing quickfire. This is going to go in the Ice Cube tier. Long and short is... well, I do appreciate that the stripes, this template, this Adidas template, has the stripes in a slightly different configuration to what we often see. And it oh gosh, that's not what we're going to do. It's completely inoffensive, but I'm not excited by it at all. The pinstripes feel pretty mediocre. We'll stick it there. As I say, for anyone who's just tuning in, we're going to do quick fire round. I almost forgot myself. There's the City anniversary shirt from Puma. Interesting concept. Yeah, we're going to do relatively quick fire to get to the good stuff today. I did think about doing a long stream, but I think if I'm disciplined enough, which, if you know me, is not easy. Sport Recife, I'm going to say this now. I actually quite like this. Do I like it enough to put it in the Flames tier? I think I do. I really like that detail. And you can see here, guys, it's not very obvious, but there is a pattern in there. Great numbers as well. I'm going to put this in the bottom end of the Flames tier. And again, this is relatively quick fire. I don't usually go this quickly. We've got the old problem, which I've still not fixed. My clipboard on Chrome can't seem to take high enough images. So we'll do that. Neil says Strasbourg, meh. Same thoughts. My side as well, Neil. Yeah. As I say, I can't think of a good shirt from them for a while, honestly. And it probably is the Adidas thing. I do dunk on Adidas quite a bit. And I was actually, this week, with all the international kits, I was going to do a little comparison, a little graphic between Nike and Adidas. But I kind of just couldn't be bothered to put it together. But or put the effort in for what would essentially just be dunking on Adidas. Which I think, there's a time for that. But I'd rather focus on the positives of Nike. Put it that way. Thomas saying, seems as if designers are using women's kits as space to experiment. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. I think it seems to be the case. Look at that. I love. You know what? You get a much better look at the subliminal graphic. I really like that, and I love that jock tag detail as well. That's beautiful. This pattern is awesome. I like this even more than the home. I think because you can see more of that pattern. To be honest, I didn't realise how much I actually do like that. Another white shirt. Many people know, and we've got a few members of chat who, let's just say they're not big on white shirts. You know who you are. I think that, okay, that's a high Flames for me. I just love that pattern. That's so interesting. Yes, the rest of the shirt is relatively forgettable, but they've got that nice detail. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to be looking to get one of these and see that in person. The sponsors are better than sponsors, which is a shame, but sneakily, well, there you go. Sport Recife with 2 Flames tier shirts. Let's just trim that a bit. Again, we're going relatively quickly. I say that I'm taking ages being an absolute pedant when it comes to how I'm cutting this stuff out. I could be a lot quicker. So this is honestly, I think, I really like that pattern. Elijah says, yo Elijah, good to see you, mate. John Cole says, I actually like that radiant design on the white shirt. Won't buy it but can accept it. Nice, John Cole. I appreciate your openness to a white shirt there. Right, page 4. We're not actually too far behind, but we're going to keep whizzing through because, again, I want to focus today on Nike if we can. Here we go. International. I really like the use of the colours here on the on the collar. Yes, we've seen that collar quite a lot. You can think of the Arsenal kit from a couple of years ago. And the off-white colour is interesting, quite popular. Although, again, I'm spending too much time on this for a quick fire round. I'm actually going to put this in the... I'm going to put this on the high end of the candle tier. I quite like a lot about it. But it's not quite doing it as much for me as, say, the Sport Recife shirt. That's despite having a bit more interest in the colour department. I think there is an argument that I could sneak this in. Again, I'm being way too OCD here. Could sneak this into the Flames tier. Let's just look at it again. I do. Now, this pattern, I feel like I've seen it before on another shirt, but I might be wrong. I do appreciate the grainy aesthetic. You know what? I'm going to sneak this into the Flames tier. I think some of the promo shots convinced me there. I don't like as much the Sport Recife, but I do actually, when I compare it to some of the MLS releases, yeah, actually, I think this compares to those pretty well. We'll sneak that in there. Thomas saying, hoping that the plummeting crypto means less crypto sponsors. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get someone losing out on their sponsor mid-season. Do a West Ham back in the day. Now, a big release here. I said we'd do quick fire, so I don't want to spend too much time, but it is a Real Madrid shirt. We can't whiz past this too quickly. People joked about it looking like a cricket shirt. I think that was more about the promo shots than anything, was it? You look at these and with the tracksuit bombs. It is pretty funny. I did enjoy that. Instantly, Alex, who's in chat, he shared a picture of his own shirt which he bought, the Real Madrid shirt, I should say, and it looks good. This is the replica, which still looks good. The authentic is even better, as you'd expect. Honestly, I think this is an above average Real Madrid shirt, particularly because of that purple. That shade of purple, which they've used a lot, and it's quite a historical shade, is excellent. So I do like this one. However, do I like it enough to put it in the Flames tier? Probably not. I mean, we did put the international one there. I think I prefer that to this one. And when I look at this, it is good. Honestly, I don't think it's a bad shirt at all, and I think it's above average for Real Madrid shirts. But it's not exciting. I mean, I compare it quite similar to the Colo shirt there. I think that is kind of where I'm thinking. But then again, the detail is nice. It has a very retro aesthetic. I think it looks too much like one of the Adidas. Was it Adidas Originals, or they've had various releases which have this sort of style. Also, the one button thing I should have mentioned. That's another negative, but it's good. Man, it's hard to do. I am struggling to do quick fire rounds. I'll tell you guys. So some mixed comments. Thomas saying the collar's atrocious, Adidas collars are awful. This one in Arsenal. Alex saying it's beautiful up close and authentic. Yeah, no, I did see your picture, Alex. It does look good. But Thomas again saying the purple and black being different bugs me. 1 or 2 buttons. I think it's 1. Alex, you could confirm that. And yeah, I completely agree, Julian. Good for Real Madrid, average for any team. That sums up my thoughts exactly. But Zaheen making a very good point about the font. Yeah, the typeface is great. They're bringing back the 2002, 2003. I can't remember the year, but it's the one, the Zidane, made famous by obviously that early Galacticos team. Yeah, really, really nice. Let's move on to Jagardens. Now, this is a team name I've never been able to pronounce, and I cannot. Someone told me once, and I've forgotten it already. So I'm going to call them Jagardens, which is definitely not how you say their name, but that's But I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Honestly, I don't really like this one. I get it. I believe this is. Let's just have a quick read. I don't know if this is historical or not. I'm not that big on half and halves, and this colorway as well doesn't do it for me. It feels very generic. We've seen a number of, this reminds you of, was it Palace who did a similar thing recently? But it's just the colors don't do it for me, honestly. And Adidas, I mean, yeah, again, I've talked a lot about this. I don't get excited about their shirts a lot these days, and unfortunately, generally speaking, it's a bit of a handicap. I think most Adidas shirts, at least for me personally, need to do quite a lot to impress me. I shouldn't hold that against too many teams, and there are lots of Adidas shirts in the higher tiers, but yeah, in short, this one is actually going to go in the Ice Cube tier. Maybe a bit harsh, but I'm not going to dwell on it too much because I'm trying to do this quickly and I'm struggling, as you can see, guys. John Carl saying, I generally like half an hour, so this one doesn't work for me. It also doesn't work for me. I think for me it's primarily the colours and the lack of, again, I know patterns would be potentially tricky on a half and half or a shirt like this, but then when you see like the International out or the Sport Recife shirts and those patterns that elevate the very flat body of a shirt, and this is one thing which, of course, authentic or player issue, player spec shirts do well, is that they can add interest to what would otherwise be a very plain shirt. Elijah mentioned about the prices. Yes, no, Elijah, we're going to get to the international kits. The reason I'm going quite quickly through these first few pages is that I want to get to those shirts, and we will talk about that, and we'll talk about the designs. Neil, I think you've hit the nail on the head actually there, Neil. Half an hour was better with stronger contrast between the colours. I think, yeah, you know what, I hadn't thought of it, but that I think does speak to it. Leipzig had a standout collection of kits this year, a pretty wild set. This one, even though I think the pattern's bespoke, I don't remember seeing it. I know it's their away kit, but I don't think the all reds vibe really suits them. And honestly, when I compare this to something like Liverpool's kit this year, which I think the colours were just a lot nicer, I actually quite like that lighter orange, which you get on the accent colour of the Liverpool home shirt this year. I then come to this, I don't know, that I get it, the true red, it's vibrant, but the pattern as well, I don't really understand it. It almost looks like kind of a start of a tartan pattern to me. In short, I actually just don't like the shirt. And of course, when you're a Red Bull shirt, the branding, the novelty has long worn off. It used to be quite I used to find it anyway, quite interesting to see the kind of, some of those early Red Bull shirts. There was a novelty to them. That has obviously worn off now, and you've got to do something. I think something like this season's did, that they lent themselves quite well with the kind of very disruptive look, and it kind of played into the brand, I think, pretty good. This one, as an away shirt as well, not feeling it. In fact, I'm actually going to put it, I think we have to look at the context here. For what, they're an elite team. They're one of Nike's elite teams. I think they are. They certainly, I think they were talked about as being, they could do much better than that. Thomas saying, I feel like I've seen it many times. John Carr saying looks like a red shirt. Jay Burke saying, I'm not sure how I feel about Leipzig shirt. Yeah, indeed, guys. And Elijah mentioned the Netherlands away. Yeah, I love, well, okay. I won't tell you exactly where I'm going to put it. It's going to be very high on the list. And Elijah mentions Mondrian and the De Stijl art movement. Yeah, amazing. Pre-match shirts we're not going to talk about. This is a really nice design. The various Pride shirts have had, I would say, well, they've been mixed. Some of them have been much better than others. This one is probably the best one they've done, though. From an aesthetic point of view, it looks amazing. And, yeah, really, really nice design there. Saba FC. Now, the novelty here is that we've got a Lotto Kit. Lotto's still doing the business. This one, guys, has look at that crest. Look at how chunky that looks. I would absolutely love to see one of these up close, because we've seen plastic crests before. Many people critique plastic crests and say, oh, they just look like transfers. But I love how, like, the level of depth and the shape of that crest is stunning. And even the Lotto logo, look at that. Look at, like, I'm going to use the word chunky again. Really nice. And these guys, he says Malaysia. Malaysia Super League. So, for those that don't know, I actually have a bit of heritage from Malaysia. My mum is Malaysian, Malaysian Chinese. I won't use that as a bias though. But just, okay, again, those who know me will know that I really enjoy shirt technology and application, like crests, manufacturer marks, etc. on shirts. This is just for that basis alone, this has to go in the flames tier. I think the rest of the shirt isn't too exciting. I'm just trying to get a look at the pattern here. I do like it. I think actually I'm glad this isn't just black. It's almost like, if it was a blackout shirt, I mean, they've said it, well, here, her football shirt culture call it pseudo blackout. I actually quite like that it's grey. Honestly, if it was all black, I'd be less excited. This one, honestly, I think it allows that crest to jump out a lot more. So anyway, in short, this is in the flames tier, and just that is one of the best crests or the most interesting crests I've seen this year. I'm honestly obsessed with that. I could look at that all day, which shows you how sad I am. Yeah. And just quickly, sorry, I like just saying about these Slovenian kits. Yeah, honestly, I don't like them as much as other ones, and I have a lot of love for Slovenian shirts. I actually had my honeymoon largely in Slovenia and a bit in Croatia, but I was largely in Slovenia and really, really fell in love with the country then. I'd love to go back. Yeah, honestly, the shirts are good. I think of all the options, they probably picked the best one of the fan options. But no, coming back to, who is it? Saba FC. Just, guys, look at that. And I think, again, I'm so glad that the Lotto logo is the same. If the Lotto logo was sublimated and this was chunky, it would be a bit imbalanced. Really nice. Marseille full shirt. This one screams production issues and they can only release at the end of the season. Because why they released a full shirt literally for one game, which I know is quite common with full shirts, but it was right at the end of the season. Having said that, I do quite like it. It's nothing special. It has a very kind of, I'm pretty sure one of the 90s shirts had a similar aesthetic. I can't remember what year it was. It's fine. It's probably, honestly, this is probably in the higher end of the candle tier. I think, it's a lovely shade of blue, a very Marseille shade, as it should be. But I do like that. I think it's just, but a lot could be said about the necessity of this kit, and also if it's a full shirt, is this probably a little bit too vanilla? Even though I don't think it's necessarily a template pattern for this season, but. No, it's nice. It's completely, as a standalone shirt. If you said that was an away or a third shirt, I think it would make sense. I do like it. It's just I can't be much higher. We talked about the City shirt, and I really like the City shirt. That one has gone into the volcano tier. That's how much I like it. But now let's come to Arsenal, which is a big release. Thomas and Gant missed a bit, might catch the last bit. No worries, thank you for stopping by, mate. If I don't see you later, have a good rest of your week. Elijah says, thoughts on the Puma World Cup shirts? Yeah, in short, Elijah, based on the leaks that we saw, it was a bit, honestly, it felt a bit confused. You had some designs which are kind of a bit more retro inspired. I think was it Morocco had a really nice play on the old shirts. Others which felt like they were trying to do something, very flag based, like the Senegal shirt, which I quite liked, and then others which just felt completely like the Iceland shirt, which is just bad, and a lot, and just very honestly, very, as the kids would say, very mid, basically. Yeah, we'll get a better look at them, but I do think it's a step back, basically. Luke, good to see you, mate. Good to see. So Arsenal, guys, again, I want to go relatively quickly. This one, I joked about it on Twitter that they were copying Nike. It's really hard to sort of not see those lightning bolts there and not think Nike. I think that's the thing for me. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Brands copy other brands all the time, or reference a key thing, but that is just such a Nike motif. And even the modern day Nike use lightning bolts a lot. The Liverpool home shirt has almost that kind of pattern on the front as a diagonal pinstripe. But in isolation, I do like the shirt, and even though it's got that one button thing, I don't mind that. You can see here on some of the shot, is the shirt, does it have a white button or a red button? I did see something about that. I can't remember what they actually went with in the end, but anyway. Yeah, so I do like it. I like the detail on the back. But I think, we see stuff inspired by retro kits quite a lot, and I get it. It's obviously a crowd pleaser, but Arsenal, I think they need to just basically try and cast something new. This is an Adidas shirt, and it feels like the Nike stuff is coming through too much for me, honestly. Like the stripes, they don't add anything at this point. Yeah. So in short, I think it's in the counter tier because I do think, despite being a bit down in my commentary there, I do think it has an overall pretty nice aesthetic. I don't mind having the collar, even though we've seen it so much with Adidas kits that, obviously, if you don't like collars, it's not a good year for you. I'm just going to put it in the middle of the counter tier because I think, it is decent. I prefer the Real Madrid one, though, if I was going to pick one of the two. I do like that back neck detail for what it's worth. And sorry, Julian says heat ready is not compatible with that style shirt. The fabric isn't too modern for Polish shirt. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Seeing that there. I think you're right. It feels like a bit of a juxtaposition, a bit of a clash. So yeah, I'm with you there, Julian. J Burke agreeing also. Right, we're doing good. Despite me saying this is quick fire, I've not been as quick fire as I can. Let's go even quicker through this page. Kilmarnock. In short, I love humble shirts, but I do not like that neckline. I just don't like that style neckline. Also, those stripes, they feel like almost a bit too big for pinstripes, but a bit too small for puffer stripes. So a bit lost in the middle. Having said that, I think it's in the counter here because, and maybe this is the Hummel bias showing through. For what it's worth, I prefer the away shirt, which we'll get to next. And again, I really wasn't as quick fire as I should have been on the previous page. But then we had a few big teams, Real Madrid and Arsenal, so we can afford ourselves some time. We'll shove it there. This list is getting wonderfully busy. But the away shirt, I like more. I prefer, for what it's worth, just the colours of this shirt. Despite the neckline still having this I don't like this kind of scoop, this very large panel. It looks way too large. But this one has a very kind of almost like a Bromby kit, or a Brombu kit, as I should say. I did sort of learn how to pronounce it over in Denmark and have forgotten that already. Apologies to any Danish listeners. No, I like the pattern much more as well. Yeah, this one, honestly, I'm gonna stick into the Flames tier. And I really like that trim. Again, reminding me of the Bromby kit, where you've got the kind of two-tone blue. I really like that. I think it looks really good. I think as a style, I think it works. And yeah, with a less of a kind of scoopy neckline, I think this would be the mid to high Flames tier. As is, I'm going to sneak it into the lower end. We'll stick it in there. Yeah, and they got promoted. Yeah, that's true, John Carl. Neil saying collar on the command is too thick. Yeah, that's my thoughts, Neil, as well. Green at Morton. Another Scottish team, right? Are they Scottish? I believe they are. That is a hilarious back shirt sponsor. Wow, that looks naff. McGill's, that makes you think of Better Call Saul. Although I've not seen this week's, and I keep seeing people need to stop posting about it, don't they? Guys, like for those of us who are a bit slow to watch series, social media is a bad place. Anyway, I digress. I don't really like this one. I think this I don't know what you call it, not a gradient, but this kind of emanating lines. Again, I can't think of a phrase to describe that. I think for the way it clashes, I think if you had white sleeves, it would probably balance out a bit more, as is the way the raglan sleeves cut off abruptly. Or not, they're not raglan sleeves, sorry, they're not cutting the sleeves. Ignore my comments there. Yeah, this is going in the Ice Cube tier. Probably in the higher end of the Ice Cube tier, because despite my misgivings, I actually don't mind that is what I prefer on the Kilmarnock kit. that level of depth there feels a lot more balanced, and they've actually have fit the sponsor, the McGill sponsor, nicely within that band. But those lines, I mean, you could argue that it's better than nothing, but not too keen on the look. Some more comments. Well, thank you guys again for your comments as always, and I'll just get to a few of them now. We have got Neil saying they are Scottish McGill's buses. Nice, that's nice. Lewis saying has some great radiators at Greenock. Pretty bad top that though. My father's mother was a McGill, says John Carr. Sorry, just reading, catching the comments. Yayan, or I don't know how you say your name, mate. Yayan? I'm going to say Yayan, or Ian. However you say your name, and please do correct me in chat, mate. Says, have you seen the leaked Puma's Unum Wake? I haven't, but they always have pretty nice shirts, so that is going to be exciting. Yeah, sorry, just trying to read it again. Is it Yayan? Ian? Owen. My goodness, I've butchered that. Appreciate that. I will try my best to remember that in future. Owen. There was me trying. Yayan, Ian, Eoin, which is the best one. Sounds like you're a dwarf from Lord of the Rings. I mean, apologies, mate. I do hope you stick around despite me insulting your name pretty intensely there. I don't like this Celta Vigo kit, guys. Now, the funny thing is, this pattern isn't too dissimilar to what Nike did for the Netherlands women's away shirt, but as we'll get to that one later, that one made a lot more sense and worked a lot better. This one, the black and gold, feels like, every other, well, we've seen so many black and gold shirts, haven't we? I honestly don't think it works that well. This is going to go in the Ice Cube tier. I am sorry to say. I think as well, if I just check, is this, which shirt is this? This is a away shirt for next year. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't want to be too down on Adidas, but so much of their output has just not excited me. Now, this pattern, I don't know if it's bespoke or not. I have a feeling it isn't, but don't quote me on that. There's been worse. We'll stick at the higher end of the cube tier. Cruzeiro away shirt. Now, I must say, this one feels like it's too plain. I think there's a place for plain shirts, and the one thing that I will say as a positive to this shirt is it makes sense given that the home shirt, and we can see the home shirt, which I really liked. I really like that pattern. I think maybe I was a bit too high on it. Honestly, in reflection, that is a candidate to maybe fall down a tier when we do our mid-season review. But when I look at the away shirt, I get that it's plain in contrast to the much more busy home, but I think it's too plain. Obviously, when the sponsors go in these shirts, they do change completely. And the ones that, again, if I'm being positive, I don't want to be too negative. I actually do appreciate, with the version of the crest they've gone with this year, which I like. The detail, even though I like it, is a little bit too low quality, compared to some stuff we see. It's, just a little transfer there could be better. So in short, I think this is probably going to be in the cube tier. Again, in the Ice Cube tier. I don't think it's a hot shirt. Even though I think it does make sense. Like, it makes sense if you've got a slightly more daring home to have a more subtle away. That, because often it's good to pair your or vice versa. If you've got a more traditional home, you can have got a bit more license to do something a bit crazy on the away or the third shirt. This one is just a bit too forgettable. It is too forgettable. I think, hang on, I stuck it there. It doesn't make it much difference, but I am going to put it a bit higher because I do think it makes sense, but not one I would go out of my way to collect. Neil saying Cruzeiro looks like bench or team where I have no problem being downloaded Adidas inspired templates. Yeah, basically. Now, this Fluminense shirt is a small step above the Cruzeiro. The collar is a lot nicer, and I appreciate that the collar isn't just trimmed in maroon, but it's actually, you can see it is a maroon collar with a white and green trim. I think that, like, genuinely, I think that makes a difference. The sponsor is unfortunate. These guys have sponsored a few teams. Also, it's maybe obvious, too obvious to do, but it's a shame not to see that trim on the cuffs go around. You see it here in this shot. It looks nice. And I think I just want a few more of these colours, because I think those colours are so nice. I do like the detail here, a bit more than that Cruzeiro one. And the back of the neck, I could take or leave the detail, but I don't mind it. So honestly, I think this is in the lower end of the counter tier. It is a step above the Cruzeiro one that we've just looked at. I think with a few small tweaks, with a better sponsor, more of the cuff detail, and a little bit more somewhere on the shirt with those colours, or something to kind of, maybe more of a pattern. I don't think there's any sort of pattern, and I'd like to see. You can see there's a bit there. Maybe there is more than there appears to be at first glance. Yeah. So a step up, albeit a small one, for Fluminense there. These guys, of course, are good value for shirts, usually on their home shirts. Their ways don't tend to be as exciting. We will stick this one. Yeah, we'll stick it down there. Yeah, I think that's fair. Neil saying future M&M direct fodder. That is often the case. Or if you want to get your Brazilian shirts, I would recommend Foot Fanatics. They aren't sponsoring this video particularly, but I would recommend them. You can use the code Phil10. Phil's10. Is it Phil's10 or Phil10? I can't remember. I think it's Phil's10 to get 10% off. But those guys are really good for Brazilian shirts. Now, Andorra, again, I've got to be quicker than I am at the moment, but the home and away, Herrera doing some good stuff. This is such a bold design. Honestly, for a team like Andorra, who really the strength of Andorra is their colours. They do have this, they can play with these vibrant shades, and it makes sense. You've got the primary colours, but it's particularly, I think, again, the shades of red and blue and yellow, which they've had over the years, and I think they can work with that. And Array have done a good job there. I think this goes in the Flames tier. It's almost a bit too wild. I think the design is almost a bit unhinged, but I think for me it's getting those vibrant shades across in a really strong way. So I'd happily put it, in a very strong position there. The away, I'm not that big on the collar and the neckline. And it feels a bit more safe. You've got, obviously the colours, whilst they're essentially the same, having it predominantly blue, it obviously mutes it quite a bit. And this stripe detail is interesting. I think it makes sense. It's slightly more muted, and I do still like it in general. I would say this can go in the candle tier, though. I'm not as high on it as the home. But it's pretty good. And I think this is going to be a theme for these Array kits. Array who actually are working with UEFA in what's called the kit assistance scheme, where quote unquote smaller nations get a bespoke shirt, which they wouldn't usually be able to get with the typical deals that used to exist. So in short, they get a much better treatment. They get to create bespoke designs, and it's a win-win. It really is a win-win. It's a win for UEFA, for being involved in a good scheme. It's a win for Araya, getting to put their work out there, and of course the nation. So win-win-win. Even better than a win-win. There's an office joke in there, but I won't dwell on it. I like this Belarus one even more. It's such an unusual base colour, and honestly, it's kind of it's very different. If you look at the Andorra shirt, it has a kind of, I hate to use the word modern because people overuse that word, but it has a much more modern feel. This one is an unusual shade, but honestly, I dig it. It's so unorthodox because it's not just that base colour, which is a kind of a maroon, almost a bit brown in there. But these details here, it's a very surprising choice of a detail colour, and I like that. Obviously, Belarus have had these kind of these sorts of patterns before as well, as details on their shirts. John Carl mentioned about the Andorra with the sponsor. Because they're international shirts, they will most likely, it will certainly have the numbers, which I think will be a big thing for sure. John Carl. The away as well, it's another really interesting colourway. Now, I prefer the home, but this is very good still. Like, again, I mean, obviously they've got an amazing crest as well, which is one of the best in international football. It's just got so much going on. But yeah, this is probably my favourite home and away combo from this set of kits. We've seen a lot of, I guess it kind of falls under the mint umbrella, and we have seen a lot of mint kits, although they're not as in fashion as they were a couple of years ago, but really good. And I actually like the home even more, but the away is still in the flames tier. This is a really good combo from Belarus. I think it's going to be some of the most interesting, just from the colour. These colours are so fresh, if I can use the word fresh. Rust. That's a good way to describe John Carl. Rust and mint. It takes a lot to have a colourway which feels fresh in today's kit world. We see so many kits, but then you see someone like that, it's like, wow. Like, that's like Cyprus. Obviously, these ones are relatively plain. They're not completely plain. There are details, and honestly, it's probably more down to the Cyprus FA being a bit more conservative than other FAs when it comes to going, it's a bit the same reason England kits were so plain for so long. It's actually as much the FA, the Football Association of a country, than it is the manufacturer. But anyway, that's another conversation. So this one, despite its simplicity, it still has nice details. Honestly, it might look like a plain blue shirt, and it is mostly plain, but there are some nice details. The crest is very good, and I actually quite like this style of neckline. Although then when you look at it, I think it could be, dare I say, it looks a bit less exciting on the actual pictures, but in the render, it sounds funny, but I'd like it to be a little bit more like this style, the kind of ribbed look there. Actually, when I now look at the pictures, it's more just like a simple crew neck. But anyway, regardless, I'm going to put this in the lower end of the counter tier. I think it's almost too safe, but it's not as safe as it looks, perhaps. I think, again, the details, there are some nice touches in there. Obviously, despite its simplicity as well, international home kits, they do often fall into this kind of ballpark. We'll stick it there. And then the away, if we just come off here, a similar story. Now, again, there are details which do actually prevent this from being completely plain, but I think they could, especially across both shirts. When you see, we've already seen the Andorra and the Belarus shirts, which is much more interesting at the end of the day. This one will go in the Ice Cube tier. And again, when you've got, I think the thing about these ones, the colours, there's much less to work with here. That could be a Greece home and away shirt, or any number of other nations who wear those colours, or have worn those colours. Let's continue. It's 22, so we are actually catching up. I think we're going to do it, guys. If I go as quickly as I can, this is going to be actual quick fire. I'm just going to literally rank them without saying anything. Faroe Islands, low candle tier. And again, I'm doing this because I really want to get to Nike shirts and spend some time talking about them. And I said I'd do quick fire, and I really haven't been that quick. I just can't help it, guys. Honestly, you could show me a picture of any football shirt, and I could probably talk to you for 10-20 minutes about it unnecessarily. That is how my brain works. The away is also going to be in the low candle tier. I actually quite like the pixelation on that, although that could just be in the render. I won't dwell on that. What am I doing? Will the fairs be offering bubble hats as part of the keep? Yes, yeah, I like that. Neil, I like that a lot. Also, one of my favourite crests, it should be said as well. I talked about Belarus. This one might be even better. That alone means it's hard to put this anything lower than the candle tier. You know what? I actually think I like this more than the home. It's getting increasingly busy though. Liechtenstein. You know when you've said a country name and it doesn't sound right. Home, away, and third. I think honestly, candle for me there. probably, well, I mean, if I gave that a candle, I'd probably honestly put that in the top of the ice cube. And then I think, honestly, I prefer it with the contrast there. So I think I'd put this one in the candle tier. And the other two... No, I'll put the other two in the candle tier as well. If we put the Cypress kits, I think it's only fair these as well are in a similar ballpark. This one I actually do quite like. I'll put it in the higher end of the candle tier. Again, there is a better way to resize these, I'm sure, but I've gone too far down the road now. Oh, nice. There we go. Yeah, and then these ones, again, I do think the contrast on the collar of the home shirt helps a bit. The pattern is the same. I don't hate the pattern's the same. I think that's completely fine because it is bespoke to the team. I think that helps a lot. So we will, again, put this one in the counter tier and relatively lower. And it's a similar story. I feel like, I mean, you know what? I've just realized it is nice to see a different, wow, is it a different pattern? I'm just trying to look here. It could be that the render, honestly, I think it is the same pattern. And for whatever reason, the render is different. Honestly, I prefer it if the pattern was different here. It looks like it ended up being the same. I think that little bit of difference, I mean, you could argue there's consistency there. As a combo, again, it is actually pretty good. And this is the thing. This is, you know, this is 10 times better than an Adidas teamwear piece that they might otherwise have been lumped with, which is the whole point of the kit assistance scheme. So let's shove this one also down there. We continue. I want to get to the good stuff in the last 10 minutes. Hey, George. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing okay. Luxembourg, Malta. Oh, so many more to come. What we might have to do, guys, I think, you know what I will do, because I do want to spend time on the Nike kits. Let's finish the Araya kits, and then we'll go to the Nike ones, and we'll finish talking about the Nike international releases, and then we'll jump back to Penarol. Well, in fact, let's just do it now. Let's put a marker in here, and we're gonna come back again. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write a layer and say, resume from Lux. Hopefully, I remember what that means. Can you even highlight the layer? Can't you? I'll do that another time. Anyway, that is. Oh, there we go. We'll make that orange as well. So hopefully, I won't ignore that now. So we're gonna put a bookmark in there because I want to jump through to the new Nike international kits. And yeah, Neo mentions the Penarol Tabes. I do want to come to those. I think we'll do those next week because I want to spend the last 10-15 minutes talking about the international kits. So we've got Netherlands home and away, England home and away, France home and away. Yeah, let's open them all up. Let's talk about them. Let's start with the Netherlands. Now, this home shirt is pretty much as vanilla as it gets. The thing is, and a lot, you know, you could say this is very safe, but I think this is a good complement to the away, which is a lot more, well, it's a lot more different than you would often see. And despite the simplicity, of course, when you're a team like Netherlands, in many ways, the colour is your identity. Yes, it's nice to have crazy patterns once in a while. Netherlands have been good at that. But I do actually think, you know, sometimes, every so often, a simple home shirt in the latest spec, player spec material, this being dry fit ADV, is good. Some people argue that they prefer white as an accent colour. I do actually quite like the orange and black. So the thing is, right, this is, again, very simple. I would love to have some details. And I think the thing is, even though I think it works, I'm going to put it in the counter tier. Despite, I do like it, don't get me wrong. But I think, you know, when it's so plain, a back neck detail, a jock tag detail goes a long way. An inside neck detail, which I'm not seeing, although maybe it's just not on the shots here. The black stripe on the side saves it, says John Cole. Yeah, I think that is important, and the shirt would look worse without it. No, so honestly, I'm gonna, as I say, in the mid to high candle tier. Not because it's a bad shirt. I just simply think if you're going to go for this style of shirt, this kind of relatively plain, clean shirt, I'd rather you added something, little details again, which can elevate it. But we come to the away, and I love this shirt. Now, I tweeted about this the other day. The first thing this reminded me of was the 2013 away shirt, the Holland 2013 shirt, which had these colours of the flag, and it reminded me of a kind of almost like I said it was like a deconstructed look, because that one was almost like a quartered look. This one is actually much more different, but it's not a random pattern. It actually does call back, and was it Elijah mentioned before some of the key artistic movements of the early 20th century. Mondrian, the Dutch artist, I don't know how you say his name, but I would call him Mondrian. But there was also a movement called the Style, I think it was called, or de Stijl. And again, a seminal Dutch art movement which focused on a lot of aesthetics like this. I mean, if I just Google Mondrian, you'll see what I mean. And this style, which is, influenced a number of things like modernism and I can't think of there's some other names for art movements which have been inspired by this. Those who might remember the Manchester City release from a few years ago, which was based on the Hacienda, which is a nightclub in Manchester, which again had these kind of aesthetics around the nightclub. But in short, I think it's such a cool story, and to bring that through to a shirt, I think is really strong. Now, is this as good as some of the other? If I'm talking up, is it a Volcano shirt? And honestly, I think it's close. I really like the style. I think it obviously needs the numbers for it to really shine. But I think seeing those links with Mondrian again and seeing where that's come from, I think it's really strong. And the socks, which you don't see here, but the socks as well have a similar style. So this is, for me personally, it's on the higher end of the Flames tier. I actually really like it. I already kind of found the look quite interesting, but knowing that there was actually a story behind the look helped a lot, and I think you can see more of the thinking. Interesting. Andrew, so before I go any further, Andrew says, hope all is well, Phil. I am doing well. I hope you're well too, Andrew. Some mixed results in chat for this shirt. We've got John Carson, the away is a hot mess. Neil saying Mondrian never used green, he hated the colour. That is very interesting because he clearly focused on those primary colours, and that is very interesting. Honestly, I really like this shirt. To be honest, I think it's very much like the Pacific FC shirt, and I'm going to stick it right on the edge here. It's not quite a Volcano tier for me, but it's about as close as it gets. Thomas says, any Volcanoes? Not quite yet. Well, you know what, Thomas? As I'm looking at this shirt, I am going to bump this. I am going to bump this into the Volcano tier, only just. But I think when it's got the name and numbers, because the thing I like, guys, and again, I'm going to go to Twitter and show you what I saw, which was the render of the shirt on the club store. And this is not to everyone's taste, but I really like that you've got a red front number and a blue back number. I think it's a really fun idea, but I really like that. Maybe not the best for legibility, but I think it adds a real level of creativity. I think that looks really good, and I like the blocked style as well. So we'll sneak it into the Volcano tier. I actually think it's one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites from this set. John Gus says, no, don't do it. No, I think again, if I compare this to like the Unam Puma shirt here, and even the Boca shirt, I actually think I like it more. So it's going in. It's sneaking in. We've got a few that have snuck in. The City shirt as well from last week. Maybe I'm softening in my old age. And Luke saying it reminds you of neoplasticism, which in Dutch was to steal. Mondrian is simple yet expressive. Indeed. I think it. Again, it's those shades. If it was a darker shade of red and blue there, I'd be less excited. And you don't see it here, but the fact it goes with the socks, I think it's really good. Now the party continues though with France, and many people compare this to something like the Mexico '98 shirt, and you can see it. I think what really like saves this one is the fact it's an all over pattern which goes on the back. Now I think if I'm being picky, the fact it's exactly the same pattern, in an ideal world I think you'd have like the same style, but I'm being very picky here. It's a great shirt. I think though the one thing I will say about this, and it's a lot to ask for, it is a lot to ask for, but I would actually quite, in an ideal world, with I'm talking ideal world here, the dry fit ADV ventilation panels would actually in some way match the pattern. Now obviously the pattern is so busy and intricate here that I don't think that would make sense, but I think it's just something which I'd like to see. And you'd have, I guess the problem is you'd then lose kind of some of the charm of the pattern. But again, if I'm being really picky, no, it is a good shirt. Now I actually prefer the Netherlands away, which I think might be controversial, but it's like, ask me another day and I'd say this shirt, it is good. It's nice to see France kind of going back to a more true blue as opposed to some of the navy shades that they've employed. And I actually really like this collar, which of course has been a feature of a few recent Nike shirts. So what the heck, I'm putting this in the Volcano tier as well, because for me it's 1A and 1B between Netherlands. As I say, it's not, I set up for Netherlands, but honestly, like, you could almost have this as a home and away, couldn't you? Like, that could almost be a France away shirt. This is really good. I'm going to stick it here. Maybe if I stick that there, and then I'll just bump the Netherlands slightly, or about that a few pixels that way. Really, really good though. Yeah, and Thomas said, last game, okay, this isn't madness. Yeah, no, that's fair. And again, I do have a fondness for the Netherlands kit for whatever reason. This one's good. And to be honest, this is many people's favourites from the release, and rightly so. Even small things like the little flower detail. It's such a small thing, but that's what's missing on the Netherlands home. Stuff like that. Obviously, the Netherlands is also very different, but yeah, really good. And it's just, I think it's good to see Nike, again, it goes all the way on the back, it continues on the sleeves. I couldn't even tell you what the pattern is of, honestly. I mean, we've got here neoclassical art and architecture. So there we go. I mean, it's beautiful. It is really beautiful. I think there's just the right level of contrast in those two blues. It's gorgeous. It's a really nice shirt. The away, guys, is actually really nice too. Now, it's not as good. I really like it, and I would always caution the people to look at this shirt as the people. I would also always caution people to look at shirts like this a bit more closely, because you see stuff like, look at this is my favorite detail, probably one of my favorite details of the season. The same what was it, the neoclassical vibe aesthetic within the pink detail on the side of the shirt. What a wonderful touch, because it's like embossed, so it's got a level of depth to it. It's a really intricate pattern. It's not just kind of really blocky. It looks really good. The same little flag detail, which is a nice time between the shirts. You shouldn't miss as well the shade of gold that's been used as a nice soft kind of rose gold shade. And the best thing about this kit is the socks, which you do see in the full kit picture, which I shared. And again, if I just go to, I could quickly show you. It looks really good with the pink socks to balance it out. So this is really good. And actually, this honestly is close to the Volcano as well. I will put it in the Flames tier, but and again, so I've been missing some comments. John Carl says, white, enough said. Oh, John Carl, look at this detail there, man. Look at that. And again, I know is that enough to save a white shirt? I think it is. And I think particularly when you then see it with the the socks. Obviously, we're not ranking kits there. We are ranking shirts, but yeah, as a home and away combo, I'll be surprised if anyone has a better set of kits in France. Let's just put it that way. They're often good value for shirts. The last set of women's kits was really good as well. This is good, and I think I was already like pretty high on the kit as a whole with the pink socks, but then seeing the level of detail and the embossed pattern on the stripe really sold it to me. And I'm struggling to match this one up, even though these are ultimately different heights. Why is that not going there? Oh, I could actually just roll with it. There we go. I really like this. I'm actually going to put it like, as high as almost as high as the Sport Recife shirt. That is how much I like it. Not as good as the home, but really, really good. That combo, we've not seen many better home and away combos. Excellent stuff. Let's finish, I should say, with the England kits. Now, this England shirt, a lot of people focused on the colour, rightly so, because it is this shade, and I don't know if it honestly reminds me a lot of the accent colour of the Liverpool shirt. I don't think it is the same, but it's funny because this feels very Nike to me. A kind of a bold choice of colour, which very much leads into the kind of the futuristic vibe, which Nike often employ. And you've also got little things like the fact you've got, well, I say little things, it's a big thing, the fact you've got the iridescent crest and swoosh. But when you combine those elements, and again, you've got the colour, the choice of application style, seeing it in dry fit ADV, which isn't exclusive to the shirt, but you see it feels like if someone was to show me this, I could say it could be, or the England shirt of 5-10 years in the future. Not quite, you'd expect a bit more development in that time, but it feels very progressive, if I can put it that way. And that's despite not having a crazy pattern or anything. I just think the choice of colours really do combine along with the choice of application style and that sort of thing. It's funny because Thomas mentions Chelsea goalkeeper kit vibe. There is a bit of a goalkeeper kit vibe. I think there is that. So honestly, I like it, and I think because they've combined these elements, as I say, you shouldn't miss the backnet detail. Nothing, it doesn't really do too much for me, but it is nice to see that bespoke element. I think though it is overshadowed by the home, and I think the home, because it has that bespoke ventilation paneling, and it just has a bit more of a bit more behind it. That one does overshadow this away shirt, but but on the flip side, the way it's not just any old iridescent crest, but it has a kind of the base of the iridescent swoosh and crest is this kind of really nice. I mean, it's hard to see without seeing it in person, but it looks to be almost kind of like the same color of the collar there, but with a bit more of a iridescent sheen to it. So, some comments, in fact, Alex said, oh, it's England mistake for Netherlands. Yeah, a lot of people saying like Netherlands. It makes sense. It almost is like a Netherlands shirt. That was a bit more orange, and those t-shirts are a bit more black. So I like it. It's a long way of saying I think this is actually a really, really good shirt. And despite, I think you've got to be pretty open-minded to accept it as an England away shirt. I get that. This almost feels like it would be like a third shirt. An international third shirts are a bit of a thing, despite how mad that seems. I mean, Denmark had one, didn't they, at the Euros? I would honestly put this in the Flames tier, despite how it does upset the apple cart. I think it's fair to say. But I think as a combo with the home, it's good. I'd much prefer the home. But honestly, the thing is, if you're going to, sometimes with an away shirt, you've got to take risks. I actually think this one has the potential to be, to be very memorable in years to come, because it is essentially a new colorway. Let's not get around that. I know you could argue it's red, bright crimson, but it almost is. It's so vibrant. It's so, it looks almost like that kind of orange, like an Netherlands kit people have joked about. We come to the home shirt. Let's finish with the England home shirt. And before I get to that, there's a few comments here. Ballum saying, I like the England women's home kit, and the away is very Holland and Netherlands Dutch like. John Carl saying, I'm okay with this for the women's kit, but it would never work for the men's team. Neo saying bright crimson is the Nike official colour, and it is the same as Liverpool. Okay, I thought it looked like the same, and that's the thing, guys. When you see that Liverpool shirt in person, it's a nice colour. Obviously, that's not the primary colour of the Liverpool shirt, but I really do like it. Anyway, finishing the day with England's, and the long and short of this is, I really like how this one is constructed. I've talked, and I don't know how to describe it other than I mentioned bespoke ventilation paneling. Which sounds like a very long-winded way of putting it. If I can find the shirt for us now, there's some more pictures here. The way that the pattern has been created, it adds so much to the shirt, and it obviously, well, you can't always see it in some pictures, but it has a kind of diamond look. You can see that the shape of the diamond forming there, and I think that's such a nice way of adding depth and to the pattern. It's not just a print. It looks really good, and to see that level of bespoke treatment is obviously huge. I mean, you should do it for your biggest international teams or clubs, but it goes on the back too. We shouldn't ignore that. And many people focused on the iridescent crest and swoosh. The way I look at this, guys, the way I think about this, honestly, I think it's kind of a sign of the times, and I like that. I wrote about this in my magazine at the start of the year about obviously this trend, which has really picked up this year in a huge way across a number of teams. So even though it's maybe a little bit behind, obviously international kits sometimes do lag behind these trends because, you know, they're not released in the same kind of windows. But I think, you know, as far as an England home shirt goes, it's one of the most interesting and well constructed ones, and I appreciate that we've not got a weird collar which could have easily detracted from this. The story of this is that, you know, if you get up close and personal with that pattern and that crest and swoosh, it's gonna wow people. It's not traditional in any sense, and I guess if I was to criticize the collection, obviously if you're a more traditional fan, there isn't much to hang your hat on here as a home and away combo. The fact they went iridescent on both home and away, it's a bold move from Nike, but that's kind of what they do. I like this one, and it's going to go in the Volcano too. Thomas saying feel friendly to start World War 3 if he doesn't put in this Volcano. No, it's definitely going in the Volcano. I think though, and this is kind of funny, I don't know, I think it could go the difference or the kind of combination. I'm trying to find the picture here. There we go. Across the Netherlands, France, and England shirt here. So the Netherlands away, France home, England home. They're all good. I would probably put this one at the top though. I think when all is said and done, I'm so, you know, yes, the iridescent stuff has been done a lot this season, but I think this is one of the best examples because it's been paired with that really nice diamond pattern. I cannot speak highly enough about that. Now, as we close, I will talk briefly on price. Of course, the price is very high, and it is higher than I think I'd want it to be. Would anyone want it to be? Of course, it's a lot of money, but it's particularly the kids' kits, guys. That for me is the killer. When that's £100, I mean, I know that's for the Drive for ADV version, but at the end of the day, you don't need to be charging that much. I mean, you don't need to be charging that as much for most football shirts, but it feels like we're kind of reaching a breaking point. Honestly, I've been thinking about starting a petition. Maybe if I was a bit bigger, I could get some momentum behind that. But let's recap. Let's recap because it's been a very busy day. I'm glad we got to these kits. We had to skip over a few, but we're catching up. I mean, if you can see here, there's some lots more to talk about. But actually, we did go through a lot of kits. There's not many that we didn't do, which I'm glad because we've got a lot to cover in the coming weeks. But in short, the highlight of the day was these international kits. We've got the England home shirt, Netherlands away, France home. You know what? I'm going to bump up both of these. And again, this is controversial maybe, but I am going to bump these up. I think also the Belgrano. Let's just move that there. We'll move them another time. I need to sort this sheet out, this document out. But yeah, a lot. I mean, 3 Volcano tier editions. Is that a first? I think that's the first. But I really, you know, I'm a bit of a Nike fanboy, and you guys won't be surprised to see those there. But like Sport with Cife was sneakily good, and the France away there as well. So it was a good day, one of the best days we've had. But Belarus as well. There's just lots of hot shirts. I know we went through a lot, so you know, if you throw enough stuff on the wall, some will stick. But There we go. Thank you so much. It was a bit of a different style trying to go through stuff quickly. I didn't really go through that quickly, did I? But as I always say, guys, I enjoy these streams so much because you guys are hanging out with me, and it's great to chat. I appreciate your insight, correcting how I pronounce things, the debates, the comments about white shirts. It's all good. And please, in the last 5 minutes, any questions, chuck them in. If I've missed your comment in the chat, do stick it in, and I should be able to get to it now before we close. Balance says, do you definitely prefer the Nike Kits to New Balance? In short, I do, but I think that's more for the kind of personal bias. I'm a bit of a Nike fanboy, but I do just quite like Nike Kits. That's not to slate New Balance too much, because I think New Balance they had for me a very high like ceiling, but then a very low floor. When they were good, they were very good. When they were bad, they were pretty bad. Nike, even the bad ones, I think typically I quite like, and they've yet to really excel themselves. I think the current home shirt, though, when I saw that in person, and obviously the relative success we've had in it, I think that I'm very happy to pick that one up. I think that one is really good. Elijah, thank you for hanging out, mate. See you soon. Brooks has recently picked up a 2021 Forge FC match worn shirt. Nice, Brooke. That's a good one, especially with the patches. That's very cool. For sure. Oh, Thomas, yeah, I will check my DMs for sure. Jeff United. Yeah, Jeff United. So I'm just going to look as we're talking now. I have a feeling they released that. Was it last year? I've spelled United wrong there. Yeah, so that's the thing. It was released in the 21st of November, which is why it's not on the list. If that's the home shirt you're referring to, Thomas. For what it's worth, if I was to put it there, it would probably be in the Flames tier. Probably in the mid of the Flames tier. But yeah, I think it sadly breaks the rules by being released last year. Last few questions. Elijah, from which of those Nike National Kits do you recommend to get into the design? I think, Elijah, probably the France one is I think, if you wanted to get one, that one I think is probably the most popular, and for good reason. I think it's a great design. Personally, I really like the Netherlands one, although if you were going to get that, I'd want to get a name and number. The England one's very good too. They're a lot of money, these shirts, so I would probably caution to wait and get them in the sale. But if you've got the funds and you're keen, any of them are good. Any of those three, particularly the France home, England home, Netherlands away. I think they're all really good, and honestly, Nike shirts, Nike International Women's shirts have been very good as a collection. I think you could argue for many of them. Balance says, quick question: who would you like to see replace Liverpool shirts sponsor someone like Aldi? It's Phil Corner will be Phil's Corner. Unfortunately, will never be at that level, and I don't think I'd want to be that big, because I don't even know how I would even be able to function owning a company that makes that much money. But yeah, Aldi, I think from the aesthetics would be really cool. It would be really cool, and I quite like a good car sponsor. So yeah, I don't have any particular affinity to Aldi, but I think that would be pretty cool to see, honestly, on shirt. Yeah, sorry about that, Thomas. As I say, it is relatively new, and Classic only just got them in. But yeah, that's. It would break the rules to put it in. Maybe I could do that though. That could be fair, because it is obviously for this season. And balancing Crystal Palace, moving their betting sponsors. Yes, Cinch, the car retailer, who have been very aggressive in their advertising here in the UK on TV. They replace them, and ultimately it's better than the betting sponsor. Yeah, Thomas saying Liverpool probably end up with a crypto sponsor. Yeah, that is the unfortunate potential. Obviously, Liverpool, they dabbled with some NFTs this season. Yeah, and it's just going to go to the highest bidder, isn't it? Let's be honest, which is a shame. But guys, let's leave it there. Thank you so much. It's been a fun stream. It's been a busy stream. Thank you for your comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Make sure you like the video, and if you on your way out, and if you want to support me further, I've got a Patreon. But honestly, just having you here is a huge support, so thank you. And see you guys around. Cheers, Thomas. Thank you everyone for hanging out. It's been a good time. If I don't see either see you at the next stream or next video or on Twitter. I'll see you at some point, I'm sure. But all the best, and yeah, I'll leave you with the outro song. Thank you guys. See you in a bit. John Cole, it's been fun to have you, mate. See you guys. Take care.